The 49ers just released their schedule for 2020. Here are my top 5 takeaways. 1, it's a tough schedule, certainly tougher than last season, although that was to be expected. Last season, the 49ers were coming off a 4-win campaign, so they played a bunch of teams that finished third in their division. Last year, they finished first in their division, so they're playing a bunch of other teams that finished first in their division. The worst teams the 49ers are playing this year are the Miami Dolphins, Washington, and the New England Patriots. I mean, go figure. I mean, that means the worst quarterbacks the Niners will face are Tua Tagovailoa, who's pretty talented, Dwayne Haskins, who at least was a first-round pick, and Jared Stidham, who's been developed by Bill Belichick. I mean, last year the Niners got to play some backups, some glorified third stringers in Mason Rudolph in Pittsburgh, Kyle Allen in Carolina, and Case Keenum. No glorified third stringers on the schedule, at least right now. Second takeaway. It's a tough season opener. The Niners start at home against the Arizona Cardinals, who were one of the worst teams in the league last year, or one of the 10 worst. But they're one of the most improved teams this offseason. They added DeAndre Hopkins at wide receiver, who might be the best wide receiver in the league. And they played the Niners very tough last year without much talent. What are they going to do this year now they have DeAndre Hopkins and they have a quarterback in Kyler Murray who's entering his second season? The past 2 MVPs are quarterbacks in their second season. I mean, Lamar Jackson, 2019, that was his second year of his career, and Patrick Mahomes in 2018, that was the second year of his career. Kyler Murray has a lot in common with Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes. He's going to be a lot to deal with next year, this upcoming season. That is not a guaranteed win for the 49ers, although they should be favored. Takeaway number 3. The Niners caught a break. Weeks 2 and 3. They have back-to-back games in New York. First against the Jets, then against the Giants. And you're thinking, boy, that's tough. Back-to-back games in New York. Well, what's nice about that is they can stay in New York between weeks 2 and week 3. Or they could go to Youngstown in Ohio, which isn't far away. And that way, their body clocks adapt to the East Coast time. And that second East Coast game becomes basically like a home game for the 49ers. And another nice break about this schedule, that's the only time that the Niners would have to potentially stay in Youngstown next season. Get it out of the way, weeks 2 and weeks 3, and the Niners should win both of those games against a couple of New York teams who have young, talented quarterbacks, but may not be that great. Takeaway number 4. The Niners have to play the Seahawks in Seattle this year, week 8, immediately after playing the New England Patriots in New England. Now, the Niners should beat the Patriots in New England. They don't even have a starting quarterback. But that's a long trip. It takes a lot of energy out of any player, all that travel, all that playing. Then you got to go to Seattle, and that's always the most difficult road trip of the season for the 49ers. The Niners won in Seattle last season for the first time since 2011. The last time the Niners had to play in Seattle immediately after playing in New England was 2012, and they lost like 42-13. It was bad. Not because they were so much worse than Seattle. They were just exhausted from playing in New England. So that's a tough break for the 49ers. Takeaway number 5, though. I think they caught a break. Week 10 in New Orleans. That's a tough East Coast game, but it starts at 1:25 Pacific time for the 49ers, meaning it's not a quote-unquote body clock game. Even though it's on the other side of the country, it'll feel like a normal start time for the 49ers. So that's a break, even though that New Orleans game is still the toughest game on the schedule for the 49ers. Those are my top 5 takeaways.